Turns out like the customer was complaining that there was a ding on the clock. So then I went to the supplier and I'm like, what can we do? Can we ship out another one? The customer's like, no, I want to return. So I had to go to the supplier, and then they determined that it was my fault because they said that the white gloved the shipping company did not report any damage. So I think in total I paid $400 to get it shipped to them, and then I had to pay for I think $700 for the return fee, and then 20% restocking fee and other things like that. And I can't charge 20% restocking fee on that clock. We're talking like $12,000 here. So if I charged, what is that, $2,400 to the Amazon customer, that would have been all hell. Like, I'm sure they would have fought me tooth and nail on that. So I think I lost in total about $1,500
on one clock.
On one clock, yeah. So that was a very quick lesson to always double check how items are shipping, also know the weight, and make sure that you are digging deep.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Ecom Unlimited podcast. It's your boy Kaj here with my co-host Josh.
What's going on, everybody?
And before we get into the interview for today, I just wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, and that is Smart Scout. Smart Scout is one of the best tools for brand research on Amazon. We use it in our business every single week to find brands and to help optimize listings. And also in conjunction with Smart Scout, we just released our free Brand Direct partnership course on YouTube, where we go more in depth on how to use Smart Scout as you're partnering with brands on Amazon. You can get a link to a 25% off your first 3 months for Smart Scout in the description. All right. And with that, our guest today is Noah. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I was about to totally burst that. Say it again.
Mincis.
Yeah, I was going to add another I in there between the N and the C. So we've got Noah with us today. Noah, thanks for making time. Very excited to have a conversation with you about selling online.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Well, let's just dive right in. So can you take us back to the very beginning of your journey with e-commerce and selling products online?
Yes, I think the journey starts as for anyone, just an entrepreneur in general. I was looking for a way to go ahead and make money online. I tend to be more of an introverted person, so I always like the idea of either working from home, working for myself. And after college, I took about $5,000. I bought a private label course. And it turned out it was a terrible course. So I won't shout anything out negatively about that person, but it didn't really work out. I ended up spending about $3,000 on a product. It was a kids nature kit. When I first looked at the product on Jungle Scout, there were 3 sellers. It looked like it was going to be a massive opportunity. By the time it landed it in the US, I think there was about 50 listings, maybe a little bit more. So yeah, got completely killed with that. Tried to liquidate via Facebook ads, Amazon ads, lost a little bit more money. Currently I have 283 units left upstairs in my attic. So if any of your viewers, if you guys want to do a giveaway, we can always give those away. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got started. After that, I just needed a way to make money, also going into college. So I went ahead and I started working for a family friend who did wholesale dropshipping for restaurant equipment, not on any platform. They were just a major dealer for the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut for restaurant equipment brands. So they would go ahead and they would call up different restaurants, different areas, and then I started working with them as an internship. And after about a month, I said, "Are you guys selling on Amazon?" So they said no. So we got their products up on Amazon. First month, I think they did about $20,000. And it was a small company. The owner was my dad's friend. So it really kicked off, and I helped them, I think, for about 6 months. After that, I decided to kind of part ways and see if I can sell on Amazon as well. So I have a friend who he is a representative for Bass Moritz, which is a funeral cremation company. And his father owned a funeral company in the 80s because he basically owned a factory in India. So I know there's a lot of facts here, but he essentially owned a factory in India. After like the waterbed craze died down in the 80s, he was like, how can I keep afloat? So he decided to make urns, which are made of brass. And then my friend, he just got into the family business, started being a representative for it. And then I said, why don't we sell your products online? Long story short, it was actually, unfortunately, the perfect time. During COVID is when we had our best years. There was just a huge shortage of those products. There was no shipments coming in from India or China or Vietnam. So we had a lot of product in the warehouse. We were able to charge pretty decent prices on Amazon. Also Walmart. We also sold on a couple of other marketplaces. And then we eventually sold 50% stake of our company to one of our suppliers. So that's kind of how I got started. And then after that, I kind of branched off. I started doing OA and started a different company where I'm now doing wholesale for kind of like home decor and that niche.
Very nice.
Very, very interesting. It's funny, Josh, I'm sure you had a similar thought when you were talking about that private label launch. That's pretty
I
much
know.
it.
I want to know the name so bad now, but we'll discuss later maybe.
Yeah, but in terms of like the launch, that's what happened with our first private label product too. It was like, all right, this looks great. And then, I mean, we paid $500 for a course, and honestly, it was a good course. It was kind of A to Z, nothing, crazy, but it really laid it all out for us. But I think everyone who took that course just ended up finding the same product. And so when we launched, there was like no one. And then once it was landed, there was like probably 50 to 100 listings of that same product.
Yeah. I got started kind of in the older era. So back when Kevin David was still big and like all those guys, that's like 2015, 2016. So I will genuinely say I had no idea what I was doing. I still think as someone with almost 8 years of selling experience, I still think it wasn't the best course. But it was also definitely my own fault.
Yeah, there are always multiple factors. Okay, so that you had a very interesting story then with that family connection and then with the factory and all that stuff. So I guess almost similar to us in a way, you've seen like multiple facets of the space. And before we get into how you scale, I'm just kind of curious, like what's your perspective on the reselling landscape as a whole, on the wholesale side, the private label, the brand direct, just because you've seen kind of that whole supply chain and, obviously been through the supply chain disruption with COVID and now tariffs, the whole tariff and trade war going on. Like just what's your perspective on everything that's happening and what the landscape looks like for sellers that are in our position?
So I think it's going to affect people differently. A lot of my suppliers are kind of doing different things. One supplier said, I'm not going to charge you any tariffs. They kind of made it like a whole big thing. Like, this is why we're amazing. I have another supplier who said, now is your time to go ahead and purchase before the tariffs kick in. So they're using it to get rid of old inventory, kind of just using it as like a marketing thing. And then I have people who are genuinely like saying our prices are going to increase X%. This is how much we're going to charge you. We're not trying to make money on the tariffs. So some people are obviously different companies are going to do it differently. Across the board, though, I am seeing prices rise, either because it's directly affecting it or because the market is then going to see that prices are rising for competitors. So it's just going to rise across the board. I don't know if prices will rise in general on Amazon. I think that is something that will have to be seen. I know I'm waiting for Scott from Smart Scout's post about how this will affect which category and see all of that. But from the retailer side, we're also seeing that. I know Walmart just announced they're raising prices. So it's definitely going to be a different game. The thing with COVID was like brass and other materials, tin shot up like a couple of 100%. So there were some suppliers that genuinely had to triple, if not quadruple some prices for products. So I don't think we'll see as like drastic as changes there, but it will definitely across the board affect a lot of percents.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Now what platforms do you sell on? Do you mainly sell on Amazon or what other ones do you sell on?
So my main platform is Amazon. I'm still brand direct there. I'm also doing just working with general wholesalers. But my second biggest platform is Walmart. And I also do a lot of seasonal stuff. So in the home decor, like Christmas, Halloween. So Etsy is also a pretty big platform for me because I sell a lot of Christmas decorations as well as like calendars and other things like that. So, right now my Etsy sales I think are less than $100 per month. But then during Q4 that can ramp up to 50 and my best month there was like November and December of last year. I think I did over 100,000. So that's pretty important to us. Also our website. And then we also sell on Target. I wish it was more. I think I just passed $30,000 in sales over like 3 years. So not huge. But we are on most marketplaces. It's just like we're on Houzz, we're on a couple of other ones. They're just very small.
Sure. Got it. Okay. Do you know off the top of your head what your lifetime sales are across each of those different marketplaces?
Yeah, so my personal lifetime sales are roughly probably around like 13 million, maybe 14. Um, and I say personal because I did also split a lot of sales. Like, so for the cremation urns, I was responsible for the online sales, and then my business partner did in person. So he went to different funeral homes, different trade shows, and sold product that way. So he was kind of the in person slash B2B client side, and I was also just doing B2C. So it's kind of split among that, but I would say personal lifetime, I'll attribute about 13 mil.
That's
awesome.
And then is that predominantly Amazon, some of that Shopify as well? Okay.
It's primarily Amazon and Walmart. About 5 million is Walmart. Amazon, not so much, because again, that's split between that. But Etsy, I've done about 1.5 million on the platform. And then the rest is Amazon, eBay, and the other ones.
That's so sick. I love that. I did it. I obviously, from Twitter and whatnot, I know you talk about Walmart a lot, but I wasn't really aware of like what kind of numbers you were doing on Amazon or even knew about the Target and Etsy. So that's super dope.
Yeah, so Walmart is kind of just my own main platform. Amazon is still a shared account. So I don't particularly, I can never sell a course, or I can't even do OA on Amazon, because part of the agreement with selling 50% is that I can't sell products that are unrelated or competing products. So even if I created my own personal Amazon account and then I sell a Lego, it is a very strict clause, but I can't go ahead and do it because our party that bought in, our supplier, considers it quote unquote competition. They just don't want any same platform competition.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. So I'm curious, and Josh, if you have any questions, chime in too, but sure. I'm just curious, like, what's your strategy been around managing multiple channels at the same time? Like, I'm sure Q4 has got to be insane because you've got Etsy sales popping off, you've got eBay, you've got Walmart, you've got Amazon, right? And even with the current landscape, this is something we talk about all the time too, like trying to diversify those channels, even if it's just doing Amazon and Walmart. But I know we have a lot of listeners who are probably only selling on Amazon right now, but really want to diversify into some other channels. So just talk to us about like what your strategy is around how you scale up those other channels.
So I use a lot of different omni-channel softwares. I've tried pretty much all of them. I've tried Seller Cloud, I've tried Channel Advisor, I've tried the majority of them. I have really simplified. So a lot of my business is drop shipping, which I know is a dirty word among our peers, but a lot of it's just directly from manufacturer. So with the urns, they're pretty high margin items. I'll pay, let's say 35 and it sells for 80 or 90 sometimes. So a lot of those manufacturers or distributors will have dropship programs. Also, I know like 1,000 ASINs and a couple of other people, some of the largest Amazon sellers are dropshipping. They're dropshipping directly from manufacturers. So Spreetail, who I'm sure we're all familiar with, dropships directly from Intex. And also uses their own, they have a couple of different ways of selling it, but like there are some products that are just too big to do FBA. They don't make sense. So that definitely helps. Like I don't have to have a full-time warehouse. I don't have to worry about shipments and all this stuff. I also have a prep center here in New Jersey where I'm located that handles a lot of it. And then the owner of that prep center, who is the owner of Flash Pricer, he also has another inventory management software that he built custom for his software. So that connects to my channels across Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and brings it all in there. And then that's kind of what we use to operate.
Got it. Okay. So how much of your business would you say is drop shipping versus stocking and shipping yourself, or through FBA?
It used to be a lot
WFS?
more. I used to be like, I would say I was 95% drop shipping, which I still wish I was, but like with the landscape, it's just very hard, especially a lot of my competitors have now gone FBA, which forced us to go FBA. So I would say it's probably split between like maybe 45%. I don't know the exact numbers, but on Walmart, it used to be a lot bigger, but I'm really wary about that just because like returns are terrible on the platform, especially for high ticket products. I sold a chandelier, $600. I got back 2 pairs of used Adidas shoes. And that's just like across the board. It was really bad. I think it was like 10 to 15% return rates across those types of products. So we're now pretty heavy in FBM, but we stock up and then we ship out of that warehouse.
Got it. Okay. Very interesting. And for the listeners, right, for people who might not be aware of how to actually do drop shipping the right way on a platform like Amazon, just so you guys are aware, like this is the right way to do drop shipping. So a traditional drop shipping model would be like you build a niche Shopify store for whatever category, and then you run some meta ads, and then you purchase, when someone buys the product, you purchase it on Alibaba really cheap, send it directly to them, and then it takes them a week, 2-3 weeks to get the product. That kind of drop shipping not allowed on Amazon. The only way you can do drop shipping is if, like Noah, you're partnered directly with the manufacturer and you have a shipping template set up within your Amazon Seller Central that has the ship from address being the manufacturer. They get the label right away, they prep and ship it quickly, and then Amazon's totally okay with that because the product's legit and the customer's still getting it quickly. So there is a right way to do it. Most people, when they talk about drop shipping on Amazon, they're doing it the wrong way and the way that's going to get you kicked off. But this is the right way to do it. And we've actually done this very, very small scale, but with one of our brand partners too. If we get an order for them on Amazon, we have their listings, and then we'll just send them the shipping label from their address, and then they'll fulfill the order for us.
Yeah. And I obviously there's like downsides to every platform and business model, but I will say that like it's the best for cash flow. You don't have to touch the product, sell the product, and do all of that. There's a ton of issues. I'm not trying to sell it and say like it's better than anything else. But personally, it was my favorite way of selling.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Now, when you come to a business, and are you suggesting for certain products that you find in their catalog, let's see about drop shipping this if they have the capabilities?
So our old business model was that was a requirement.
Okay.
A lot of funeral is an interesting niche, and in the sense that it's run by a lot of older business models. Some of these suppliers have been in business for 100 plus years, and a lot of them run off of old systems. Just even like a lot of them, they still do orders via phone. Some of my dropship orders, we have to literally, like, you couldn't even text them. You had to call them in. They still use fax. Getting a catalog was like pulling teeth. So just getting, like, with dropshipping, one of the biggest issues is having accurate stock quantities and then building that into your Amazon backend and keeping track of that. So we have a supplier who, they live in Pennsylvania. They're Amish, and he sends you an email list, like line by line, not even a file, with how much he has every single month of his inventory. But he's also selling like in his store and all this, and he doesn't have he has no system. So like his stuff sold incredibly well. It was just like, that's something that we bought in stock because even though drop shipping would have been great, it just wasn't feasible. So, there's really just different ways to do it. And, I would say nowadays, just to answer the question, our main commitment is finding a supplier, making sure that we can add value and that it makes sense long term. So we still prefer the dropshipping model, but we stick to a category that is dropship friendly. So it's not like we have to have that conversation or to make that a stipulation. Rather, like the home decor, like couches, higher end stuff, larger stuff, a lot of them offer that dropshipping and non-stocking retailer program as a prerequisite.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
So a lot of the stuff that you're drop shipping is also kind of in the bulky category if you were to do it FBA.
Yeah, a lot of it is. There was like a chandelier I was selling. My supplier charges me $15 flat shipping on all the chandeliers. I sent it into FBA one time. The FBA fee was like $75, not including inbound shipping and everything like that, because we're talking about like a 30-inch by 30-inch something product. So a lot of these suppliers also, drop shipping is more profitable on those higher end. They also take care of like shipping. I don't do any FTL. I used to sell like grandfather clocks and stuff off of Amazon.
Whoa.
The biggest nightmare. I have so many stories of that. But now I ship anything via UPS and FedEx.
Got it. Okay. Oh yeah, I want to hear one of these
USPS
nightmare
sucks.
grandfather clock stories if you're able to share.
Sure. So we were an approved authorized seller for a well-known clock brand, and when we went ahead and we listed their products, they have a lot of grandfather clocks, like 6 feet tall products, a couple 100 pounds, and I didn't realize that they shipped via white glove delivery to the customer. So you get an order on Amazon. Typically, we'll ask our suppliers the handling time, so they told us like 3 days, and I'm waiting for a FedEx or a UPS tracking number, and then they send me this tracking number. I forgot the name of the carrier, but it was just an unknown trucking company. So like this is back in the day of like 2020 when Amazon was still not so, you were able to kind of skid by with that as long as your metrics were good. So I didn't even upload a tracking number. I just literally clicked like shipped, and then confirmed it, and then it got delivered. Turns out like the customer was complaining that there was a ding on the clock. So then I went to the supplier and I'm like, what can we do? Can we ship out another one? The customer's like, no, I want to return. So I had to go to the supplier, and then they determined that it was my fault because they said that the white gloved, the shipping company did not report any damage. So I think in total I paid $400 to get it shipped to them, and then I had to pay for I think $700 for the return fee, and then 20% restocking fee and other things like that. And I can't charge 20% restocking fee on that clock. We're talking like $12,000 here. So if I charged, what is that, $2,400 to the Amazon customer, that would have been all hell. Like, I'm sure they would have fought me tooth and nail on that. So I think I lost in total about $1,500
on one clock.
On one clock, yeah. So that was a very quick lesson to always double check how items are shipping, also know the weight, and make sure that you are digging deep.
Wow.
That sounds terrible. I think the heaviest thing we've ever sold, Josh, was that 40-pound bag of Smarties. I don't think we've ever sold anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
But once you start having single units, no, I think we sold it on eBay.
Okay. Oh yeah,
so that's an easier platform to do it on. Amazon's just really bad for it unless you have I don't know. I bought a pool table on Amazon and it's good. I'm sure a lot of companies do it, but if you're drop shipping it and you bear the burden of those costs, it can get out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Kind of like pivoting here a little bit. How did you manage to? I mean, you're here after selling on Amazon for a really long time. 13 million in total sales. What does it look like in terms of like capital getting to there? And then how did you kind of snowball, whether it was like credit cards, loans, kind of like all that starting capital?
Yeah. So I initially started with drop shipping because I didn't have any money. After losing a lot of my money inside of the private label and a couple of other things, I know this is frowned upon, but I would go into Facebook groups and I would review products for money on Amazon. So I was able to get about $500 with that before my account was not allowed to review anymore. And that was really good starting capital. And then from there, just kind of with drop shipping, I was able to leverage all of that, especially drop shipping. You can get net 30 terms still. Some of them will do net 60. So couple that with your credit card statements, you're able to go ahead and really leverage cash flow. So that was really great. And then during COVID, that, like I said, it was unfortunately a good situation for us. So we made a lot of that. And then right now I'm pretty much like learning to manage cash flow as well as like shrinkage and all of those, because we have inventory coming into the prep center. A supplier shorts us a few units here and there. So it is definitely a new challenge that I'm learning, but you just have to have systems.
Absolutely. Yeah. Systems are such a needed priority, especially in the Amazon space. Now, kind of going into like the structure, like what does your team structure look like?
So I have two VAs, so I have two VAs full time. One of them manages Amazon solely, and the other one manages Walmart solely. And then I have a part-time VA. She kind of helps me with admin tasks. So she'll pop in and review the books. So she's about 20 hours a week right now. She'll kind of, she works from home in the Philippines. So she'll also, when needed, she could do 40 hours a week. And I used to have a bigger team, but I really like having this small dedicated team. So for the warehouse, I have no employees instead. So Jordan owns the warehouse and they have about 8 to 10 employees depending on the season. And they manage full time for shipping, receiving inventory, handling all of that, handling orders. So it really is, I'm in a really good situation. I've gotten lucky with who I know and connections, but I'm able to go ahead and run the business completely location independent with that.
Yeah, that's super cool. And having that freedom too must be a really nice, just to be able to like take a vacation here, but still get all the work done that you need to when you need to.
It's amazing.
Now, you said you did go from a big team to a smaller team. Talk to us about like what decisions brought that up.
So the biggest decision was just not knowing, like, I'm not the best manager. I wish I was. It's a skill that I had to learn that I wasn't. So having a VA team, I had about 6 VAs at my height. I know people who have like 12, 20 VAs, and I can't imagine managing that, especially like if you have a VA that, you have an admin one and you can completely trust them. I think it's a lot easier for me. I just wasn't able to find someone that I can completely train and then offset them and leave the responsibility of managing a channel or just part of the business completely without oversight. So for me, I like to work with my team. I don't work in the business per se, but I'll still talk to suppliers. I'll still do all of that. I was never really fully able to outsource that. So when I was talking with my VAs, I'd ask them about certain things weren't adding up, certain things were not being done. So I just decided, rather than paying for all these VAs, why not just cut down on the ones that I feel are doing the best? And it's no hard feelings. I referred them to other businesses. All of them were good. No, didn't have any bad blood. No horror stories, as people say, like they stole money from me or anything like that. I just wasn't able to manage that size of a team. So I realized that with like 2 to 3 VAs doing set tasks, I can operate with that.
Interesting. Now, kind of like if you were to fast forward 3 years as your business grows, do you see your potentially your team growing?
No, I don't think so. I don't want to scale too much more. I really like the idea of not owning a warehouse. I used to want to own a warehouse and do all of that. And I've been there. I mean, Jersey is really expensive. I know it's not as expensive as like Miami or shout out Corey where he lives in North Carolina. But like I did own a warehouse briefly here for a year. And we have to pay, the warehouse fee. You also have obviously maintenance. You also have disposal and electricity and all that. And then you also have like, I forgot what it is, but there's an extra fee that's required in the county that I live on. So you're paying a lot there. And then on top of that, you also have to, when you get workers, limited liability insurance, all of that. And it's just not something that I personally want to take on. And then in terms of my VA team, I'm definitely open to expanding it. I like the idea of like seasonal workers. So right now, the 2 workers I have are perfect for the volume I'm doing. During Q4, I scaled. Maybe I'll bring on like a 4th VA. But I really like that idea of like kind of shrinking or bringing on the team. But all of my VAs, the 2 of them that are full time, have been with me since 2018. So they've been with me through the transition.
That's insane.
And yeah, so one of them, like, I'm the godfather of her son. She just calls me one day. She's like, I had a kid. I was like, amazing. She's like, do you want to be the godfather? I was like, sure. So like, I've people running around in the Philippines that I'm the godfather. I have no idea. She was able to buy a second house. She was able to buy a car. Her husband retired. She works full time. It's just amazing like what you're able to provide for these people, as well as like, obviously we get benefit from them not being a U.S. salary, but like I think a lot of people also don't understand that $12 an hour to them is like more than a doctor's salary. That's like insane to them.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, it's so funny because Cajua made a viral reel that went like crazy, where he was talking about hiring
I
VAs
literally still get comments on it. Yeah, it was one that me and Corey did. This was well over a month ago. But yeah, if you talk about what you pay your VAs, the internet doesn't like it, and it goes viral.
And what's so funny is
I see him always repost those.
Yeah, and what's so funny because everyone's like roasting him in the comments, and then like he's getting direct messages from all these VAs being like, "Can you please hire me? Like, are you hiring right now?"
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Well, that's those DMs I get a lot of those DMs.
Yeah. So if you don't want to scale anymore, what are you taking the time? Or is your time going elsewhere? Do you want to start new ventures? What are you thinking about there?
Yeah, so I mean, I talk a lot about this with friends in the area, and I'm sure you guys also have this conversation, especially now with like the current landscape. Major sellers stepping off the platform. I just read an email today from Marketplace Pulse that Amazon's growing, new sellers are hopping on. I'm sure that's the case, but I think we come from like an older group or just like a seasoned group of Amazon sellers on Twitter. So I know like with Chris Grant, Corey Ganem, Miles, all those guys, the space kind of feels a little bit, I don't really have the right word, but stale. I don't know. Like we're all kind of contemplating, is this what we want to do? And how far do we want to take it? So I think for me, that answer came in that I was talking with a buddy, and he said that he wants to go full Spreetail, and he wants to have 20 warehouses doing seller fulfilled prime, doing all of that. And I'm like thinking of myself on the logistics, it's just a lot to manage. I was looking at my loss for shrinkage of inventory, and I think that in 1 month we lost like $10,000 worth of inventory unaccounted for. I'm not a huge operation. I mean, that's to me, that's like, where's that product going? And then you have to contact suppliers and fight it. So I think inventory-based businesses, to me, are a great place to get started. I still think it's one of the easiest ways and the best ways to make money online, rather than like affiliate marketing on Pinterest or all of this stuff. So I'm comfortable with where I'm at. And then in the future, so I'm actually building a Walmart software called PriceLink. It's supposed to kind of be like the Smart Scout / Keepa of Walmart. And I'm very passionate about that. And yeah, just continuing to build other businesses off of e-commerce.
Super cool.
So I'm curious about your current strategy right now, because I know like you multi-channel, all that stuff. Are you only doing brand partnerships? So obviously with the Amazon side of things, that's kind of like non-compete. So you're not doing OA there. Are you doing OA on other platforms, just wholesale, just brand direct?
Yeah, so I do a lot of OA on Walmart. During Q4 last year was crazy. Like there were so many Legos that Walmart was discounting to $20 in store. You could buy them, flip them for like $50 online. So that was, I'm still brand new to OA. I think in June of this year will be my first full year of doing OA.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I think Walmart just poses a unique opportunity. Not to say that it's like, with rose tinted glasses, it's a gold rush. It's just that the restrictions that are on Amazon right now don't fully apply to Walmart. So Lego, Pokemon, all these brands that would be very hard to get approved with right now, Nike being one I know that Amazon recently happened. So you can sell those brands on Walmart for higher prices, or not really so much actually. I think prices have kind of equalized with Amazon, but the margins tend to be higher because fees tend to be lower. So I'm about 70% OA on Walmart, 30% wholesale. Also, a lot of the products I sell just don't do well on Walmart. So going back to the chandelier example, they're just niche products. It's not like, lighting and all that. Walmart kind of sells themselves, and we're also higher end. So we don't have the volume to support that. And when I started selling urns on Walmart, I think we were one of 3 listings. And now if you take a look on Walmart, the urn category has grown. There's now over 1,000. That's kind of also with the introduction of Chinese sellers and Indian sellers and other people there. So volume is definitely picking up, but my categories are not able to fully be supported on there. So Amazon, we're all wholesale, brand direct, and not really exclusive. I've gone that route. I don't have the team to manage it. We do content for one brand that's managed through an agency, but I don't really do a lot of exclusivity. And then on Walmart, we're mostly OA / 30% wholesale.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And so if you don't mind sharing numbers, like what's your projection for 2025 for Amazon revenue at about what margin, and same with Walmart?
Yeah, so I would love to do close to 3 million this year on Walmart. I think we'll hit that. A lot of my business is cyclical. So right now we're gearing up for Halloween. Halloween's one of my biggest times. Q4, I would say about maybe 40 to 50% of my revenue for my business comes in Q4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I also like calendars. There are listings on Amazon where I sell. Like you look at the thing, and obviously it's year to year, so it's a different listing each time. But like, it starts out right now, the brand lists it with the UPC code. No sales. And then all of a sudden, like come August when they sell the inventory to all their authorized dealers, like you list it, shoots up, and that thing is selling close to 40,000 a month. I wish I was getting all of that, but it's like those items are crazy. So Christmas stars, I actually just sold one yesterday, but I'm getting maybe one a month versus in December, November, I'm going to be getting close to probably maybe 500 orders a day on some of these SKUs. Wow. So my business does really well there. In terms of like a monthly average right now, so I did about 160,000 on Walmart in April, and then on Amazon it's about 110. But Q4, like I said, Amazon's going to completely dwarf that. So I think last year I did close to about 600K in December on Amazon, and I'd love to push more.
Dang, yeah, absolutely crushing it. That's sick. And for Walmart context, how long have you been selling on Walmart? Because you said you've only been doing OA for about a year. Is that when you started selling on Walmart too, or were you on Walmart before that?
So I was on Walmart before that. We started, my first account was 2019. Okay. I opened that up for my funeral company, and we didn't really sell at all. I think our first year we did I don't know, maybe 10,000, 15. And then I played around with it in 2020, 2021. We started to scale. Returns were a nightmare. I mean, I know people say they're bad right now. My return rate was like, it was probably about 10 to 15%. 1 month, I literally lost I lost $5,000 in 1 month with returns. So we just shut it all down. Like we were losing so much money, couldn't keep track. Like things would be, Walmart would say, we're refunding the money, await 2 payment cycles. So that's 30 days. So we'd have to wait that. And then like it never came. So it was just, I didn't have the team nor the bandwidth really. I didn't have the mental capacity to fight all of this and deal with it. So we just shut it down. And we focused on Etsy. Etsy in 2022 and 2023 was massive for us. And then in 2023, we scaled up Walmart. And that's kind of where we started to really see earns explode. We also started to push more just like content and build out the listings. That's also the introduction of WFS and other programs and advertising. And 2023 was a big year for Walmart. So we felt the change there. So we decided to scale up. And I was doing maybe about 20 to 30,000 a month in 2023. Then 2024 really took off. Was able to hit my first 50K a month. And from there, just like that's when I got introduced to OA. And I saw people who were doing RA. So Joey Wheeler, a couple other people on Twitter, and there's also Chaz, who you might know from Twitter. He does like, I think in December alone last year, he did 600,000 with just OA and RA on Walmart. Like all toys and Pokemon and that stuff, but the volume is there. So I said like, if it's there, I got to be able to do it. And that's kind of what spurred that on in 2024.
Yeah. It's crazy to hear about the numbers that people are doing on Walmart. Cause for us right now, like I think Josh, maybe at one point we tried to do OA on Walmart, not too intensely, but we pretty much just cross-list the brand partners that we have. And I mean, we do get sales, which is awesome because it's just like, helps increase like our order size and whatnot. But in terms of the brand direct side, I think it's not like it's popping off for us. But I have a feeling that as we continue to get more brands on there, like there are a couple I have in mind where I think like they're going to really start to do well there, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. And they're also building out the tools. So they have like a listing quality score and everything. They're trying to build stuff for brands. The brand portal right now, like for lack of a better word, just sucks. I mean, there's nowhere near like the content and the capabilities that you can have with Amazon.
Right.
All unauthorized sellers are a nightmare. We have, I'll give you a really interesting situation. So we sell an earn that we're not allowed to sell on Amazon or Walmart. So we sell it on eBay, we sell it on Target, we sell it on our own website. Primarily, I'm just with them because they're also a sister company to a home decor company. So I do business with both. And like, so what happened is that someone listed it on Walmart underneath a Chinese name, and this brand ordered it from them. And then what happened is that we got an order on Amazon for this earn. So this is like before we were being kicked off, we're just transitioning off of inventory. And I'm like, wait, is this a test order? Why is the brand doing that? Like they know that we're selling out of this inventory. What's going on? So then what happened is I called this the rep and I said, I just got an order from you. And she's like, so you are selling on Walmart? I said, no, we've had this conversation. Me, you, my team, and your executives. We're selling it on Amazon. We're selling out. And she's like, but I just placed this order on Walmart. So it turns out this was like a drop shipping it on Walmart from us on Amazon. And then the brand thought that it was from them. But like the weird thing is that like we're selling it for, let's say 90 on Amazon. And then they were selling it for maybe 110 on Walmart. And I didn't know where the profit was coming from. But then you realize like new sellers, they got savings, discounts. There's also just like a ton of things, and also they could have been doing it through cash back. I have no idea how they were doing it. But like I took a look at the seller's catalog and I showed my rep. I'm like, if you look, this person's selling 30,000 listings and like less than 1% of them are earns. So we were able to go ahead and resolve that. But like that just shows you how wild of a platform Walmart is, where it's just like drop shippers are rampant, duplicate listings. Brands are just having trouble, keeping up with getting off unauthorized sellers, cleaning up listings, everything like that. But it's getting better.
Man, that's actually insane. And that reminds me, Josh, of our private label.
Yeah, private label. Someone listed it on Walmart, and we're selling it
which was so
more.
funny to me because it's like we weren't doing any sort of crazy numbers. I mean, maybe 10 units a day. Average sale price was around $30. So not like anything earth shattering. But for us, that was really sick because that was proof of concept. But I remember the one day we were looking on Walmart because we were thinking about also listing it on Walmart, and then somehow our specific branding was already listed on Walmart.
We were
and I'm like,
what?
who thought that our product was good enough to rip it off to list it on Walmart? But I guess they did.
It's flattery, but they don't even they're not even looking at the numbers. They're just somehow throwing it all up. And so like Drop Air is a very famous one. I think they have close to 50,000, if not more, listings on Walmart that they're just all drop shipping from different sites. Walmart hates drop shippers with a passion.
Yes.
So I still don't know how some of these guys operate, but it's insane.
Yeah, I feel like now, at least, and I've talked with Tracy about Walmart a lot. I know that she was saying like Walmart's tightened up their policies around that, specifically with how quickly you have to get the tracking number scanned after an order is placed. So yeah, I have no idea how these guys are doing drop shipping at scale on that platform.
I have no idea. Maybe on the inside, who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully they get kicked off soon. Just makes it easier for everybody.
Yeah. Especially
Solid.
legit sellers.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Cool. Josh, you got any other questions?
No, I think I'm out. I'm out of questions here.
All right, let's land the plane.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you found value from this episode, give it a like and subscribe to Ecom Unlimited so you can stay updated on all of our new content. And Noah, where can people go find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on all social medias under Noah Minsis. I try and create content to help sellers, very niche topics. So like wholesale drop shipping, you can find a lot of content about that. On my YouTube, I also make Instagram, Twitter rants sometimes, trying to get more into that. And LinkedIn also I'm trying to build out professionally. And also if you guys would like to try out PriceLink, we have a free trial. It's a Walmart software. Scott Needham likes it. We got approval from him. So if you guys want to try that out and expand to Walmart, be sure to go ahead and try pricelink.io.
Yeah, and then we will drop that link in the description for you, Noah. All right, sound good?
Appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. And we will see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.